So mind is not a component of the physical reality. The physical reality is the component of the mind. And this is the difference between a materialistic mindset and a spiritual mindset. In the spiritual mindset, the existence is made up of not things, but a certain invisible quality which we call the mind. And everything is moving and flowing in that mind. And that is why nothing ever stays the same forever, because it's constantly changing. Can you point out to one thing in this existence and say, oh, that thing never changes? It always remains the same. There was a time we used to tell the sun and the moon, they don't change. But now scientists say that even the sun will die someday. Which is a fact. Everything is changing. The tree is changing. At this very moment while you're watching it, something is changing within the tree. It is producing a leaf, or it is shedding a leaf, or it is branching out. Even the earth is constantly moving, constantly changing. Now that itself should tell us that we are not in a fixed reality. We are not in a fixed realm. We are in a mysterious, magical, ever-changing reality where nothing is fixed here. And the prime beautiful example of that ever-changing reality is your own body. Look at your own body. You might have great affection to it. You might have great liking to it. You might even admire it. But if you see, it's just going towards a certain end. It is not rejuvenating itself. It is just going through a process, and one day it's going to disappear. And that's what we call death. So this constant changing part is what we identify with. And sometimes we call this our mind. But really, mind is the playground. Life is the game. In the game, the playground doesn't change. It is fixed. You keep playing the game. And sometimes you say, oh, the game is good. Sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it's right. Sometimes it's wrong. But this has nothing to do with the playground. The playground is simply there. This has something to do with how you are experiencing life, how you are using the body to connect with the reality around. If that connection is good, there is pleasure. If the connection is bad, there is pain. Similarly with the mind, similarly with your thoughts. If certain thoughts leads to certain fulfillment of desires, you are happy. Otherwise, you are sad. But there is one unchanging reality that has been a part of you throughout your life, right from the age 1, 2 till now. Everything has been changing. Your desires have been changing. Your body has been changing. Your thoughts have been changing. Your perception of the world has been changing. But you, the most important thing, go deep into this moment. Try and connect with that. The you never changes. It has just always been the same. Now, mind is that you. And you are that mind. That pure perception. You throw anything in that mind, it starts playing with it. And that's what becomes a movement, a life. But even with nothing, it is always there, eternally there. Even with the body, it doesn't play for 24 hours. It has a limited time, 8 hours, 9 hours, or maybe 10 hours. And then it wants to throw the body and just go somewhere else. So it puts the body to sleep and it goes into a different realm. So the reality, although we attach ourselves so much to the body, the reality of existence is not the body but the mind. Mind is the fabric on which life is woven. Without the mind, there is no perception, there is no experience, there is no journey, there is no traveler, there is no questioning, there is no reasoning, nothing. Without mind, none of this will make any sense. If you take mind out of the equation, then what is the purpose of existence? It all seems meaningless. So next time when you say, my mind is disturbed, know that you're lying. Your mind is not disturbed. Disturbance has been added to your mind. See, this is very important to know, because the moment you conclude that your mind is disturbed, then you would want to try and do something that will take you away from the mind. So you would go into more distractions. Oh, my mind is disturbed. I want to relax. Let me watch a movie. Let me just go out. Let me interact with few people. Or let me get into some work. Let me pick up some project. Let me busy myself. Now, all these things will not take you away from the mind. It will actually bring you more deeper and deeper into your thought process. Instead of saying that my mind is disturbed, try and change that language. Try and ask this question, what is it that is disturbing my mind? Because my mind, by its original nature, is supposed to be bliss. Mind is supposed to be a very blissful space. And in fact, it is. Mind is not disturbed. You are disturbed. So ask this question, where is this disturbing coming from? And who is experiencing this disturbance? Then you will see the self, the individual emerges. And the individual is always a collection of all the egos, collection of everything that is accumulated. He is the one who is in trouble, not the mind. Because he has accumulated certain desires and certain tendencies. And if things are not going according to those tendencies, there is pain. Now, it's not the mind that is experiencing pain or pleasure, it is you. So that's where in meditation you get to the core of you. You actually deal with the mind. You don't care too much about the mind. The objective, although we use the words going beyond the mind, awakening, enlightenment, the objective is really never to go beyond the mind, because it is impossible to go beyond the mind. This is where all these ideas come from. Oh, I left my body. You know, I've shared this, right? There was a person, she was explaining her out-of-body experience. So I asked her, have you meditated? You know, it's like when you're saying that you've had an out-of-body experience. Because I know it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. You need to meditate, and then finally, when that thing happens, it happens. But she said, no, I meditate for about 15-20 minutes a day. It's been like close to 15 days since I've started. And I had this experience. And I asked her, what is this experience? And she said, I came out of the body. I went and visited my friend. We both held hands and we floated in the sky. We roamed around, and then I dropped her home and I came back. Now, she's not lying, mind you, because that is her experience. Now, who is to say that is not an out-of-body experience? But the out-of-body experience that a meditator is seeking through enlightenment, through awakening, is something completely different. See, this is purely the imaginary part of the mind. You can sit, close your eyes, and imagine whatever you want to imagine. You can imagine that you're leaving your body. You can imagine that you're circling in the air. You can imagine that you're coming back. See, that is why I say out-of-body experience is an impossibility. It's an impossibility. I'll tell you why. The moment you start talking like this, okay, I want to transcend my body, the biggest question is, who is transcending this body? If you can leave this body and go somewhere else, that simply means you are limited. Because if you can leave the body, if I can leave myself here and go there, that means I am there but not here. That's the definition, right? If I hold 2 cups in my hand, if I drop 1 cup, I can do that because my body is a limitation. It can grasp this cup or that cup. So the moment you say you can drop your body, and go out of it, you're really saying that you are a limitation. In the real experience of awakening, you don't drop anything, you become everything. The body is consumed into the part of the mind. The reality around you becomes a part of your mind. You don't drop anything, you don't transcend anything, you don't go left, you don't go right. You will simply realize that you have always been where you are supposed to be, and you didn't have to move an inch to become enlightened. Because you are the mind is you, and the mind has no limitations. And in the mind, there is no question of moving here and there. Everything is a part of this mind. That is why enlightenment is not an attainment. It is not even a realization. It is to simply, in a single moment, realize something that you have always known. No, that is why awakening or enlightenment doesn't change your personality. It doesn't change your behavior. Because it doesn't add anything that is not already there in you. Look at the beauty of this experience. It's like you're holding something in your pocket and you've been carrying this all your life. And suddenly somebody points out to you that, see, you're carrying this thing. And you just realize, oh, I've been carrying this thing all my life. That is awakening. Awakening is not somebody putting something in your pocket for the first time. Awakening is not a new experience, remember. As long as you're trying to seek some new experience, you're going deeper and deeper into the mind. You're not awakening. Awakening is a complete acceptance of this moment as the totality of reality. That's it. This moment is complete. And spiritual path is not a path at all. It's a pathless path. Everything is imaginary here. The path is imaginary, the journey is imaginary, the traveler is imaginary, the destination is imaginary, because this is all a part of the human language. And a spiritual teacher uses this language because this is the only language you understand. No, if you want a spiritual teacher to speak the truth, he cannot talk. He just has to only keep quiet. Because how can he say anything? The moment he says something, it is a part of your mind. The moment I say something, it creates an imagery. It creates an imagination. So I've driven you away from the reality into your imagination. So you have to keep coming back. You should not use those thoughts as a way to go away. You should use it to come back. Because this moment, what you're experiencing now, is the mind. And it is boundless. It is timeless. It is simply the realm in which everything is happening. Now the only question is, can you drop the desire of doing something to just be? That is all is the objective of meditation. What did Buddha do for 4 or 5 years? He just dropped the desire to be him. It took him 4 years. But at the end of it, he was still sitting in the same place. He was still closing his eyes. There just came a single moment when he found the courage to say, I am perfect the way I am. No more seeking, no more searching. And he was tired and he dropped the body. And in that moment, he simply realized that he is awakened and he has always been awakened. Even at this very moment, you are awakened. But something is blocking you from experiencing that awakened reality. What is that? It is your thoughts, your desires, which has manifested itself as your body. Your body is nothing but a collection of your desires. Your desire to walk is your leg. Your desire to grasp are your fingers. Your desire to see are your eyes. Your desire to smell is your nose. Take away the desire, there's no purpose for the body. If I can sit here and if I have no desire whatsoever, what is the point in even getting up and moving? So body is a manifestation of that desire. And when we say drop the body, it's really not to drop the body like physically, but to drop the desire of the body. Spirituality is a very subtle realm. Nothing real ever changes here. That's why when somebody starts talking about, oh, I acquired this spiritual knowledge, now I can bend that tree, just watch it. I'm going to bend it to the right. Run away from that person. Get away. Because they neither understand spirituality, nor do they understand that tree. They have confused themselves and that tree. And this is where, in the so called spiritual language, we can get ourselves trapped in different compartments, mystical things, energies. Spirituality is simply to realize what you already are. Remember, if you are not already enlightened, there is no possibility for your enlightenment. If it is not a part of your reality, you can never attain to it. You are already that. See, as of now, you're fighting the mosquitoes. That is what you're occupied with. But imagine there are no mosquitoes, no disturbance, the body is blissful, totally relaxed. In a moment, you can become enlightened.